Thank you all for joining. This webinar is being hosted by Dynavision with the support of Companion. So thank you, Companion, for helping so many people register as well today for this webinar. We're very happy to see so many people joining us today. I see we already have 62 attendees, which means this is our most successful webinar yet. So let's hope we can keep getting those numbers up. Just so you know, this webinar will be recorded and everyone will have access to the recording afterwards. Now, I noticed that most of the attendees today are consultants, so I'm going to keep the introduction short so we can focus on the demo. My name is Jens de Kolvenaar. I am a partner manager at Dynavision, where I'm responsible for sales, marketing, and partner management. And today, I'm accompanied by the one and only Dynavision product lead, Bent, who will do the demo later on. If you would have any questions during the presentation, you can post them in the Q&A section of the chat. We also have a small surprise in store for everyone who is following this webinar today. So don't tune out just yet once the demo is finished. Now, before we're going to start with the demo, I'd like to tell you a little story about an ISV called Dynavision. Now, there once was a Belgian team of consultants that noticed that BC partners were building the same types of customization over and over again. They thought to themselves, why not standardize these features and pour them into SaaS apps? That is when Dynavision was born. The team developed an app portfolio of about 30 add-ons for Business Central with a 100% SaaS focus, allowing them to keep the apps up to date, no matter how many updates Microsoft might push for Business Central. They also decided that they should focus on the distribution, general and trade verticals, as well as on the drinks or beverages sector, because we Belgians are very much known for those sectors, especially, of course, the last one, the drink sector. Last but not least, we are backed by Capital A venture capital firm that supports our further growth. If you're curious about our complete offer, don't hesitate to check out our website, dynavision.app. Here are a few snapshots of our wonderful team that is keeping partners worry-free. You'll get to meet them once we start cooperating. As you can see, we were present at Directions last year. This year we'll also be attending Directions in Vienna, where you can visit our booth. We will be hosting a new competition with some special prizes. So I suggest you follow us on LinkedIn if you want to stay informed about those contests and especially those prizes. Our ecosystem of partners is growing quite fast. This year alone, we welcomed over 20 new BC partners that are using our add-ons in their projects. So don't hesitate to contact us if you want to become part of this wonderful community. Just go to our website and click on Contact Sales in the top right corner to contact us. All right, so that's already it for my part. I'll take over again after the demo to reveal our little surprise for everyone who has joined us today. So Bent, over to you.
So good afternoon or good morning from my side too. Welcome to the webinar of the Dynavision report layouts. So to give a little context, we have created an app which should offer a solution for configuring report layouts by the customer or the functional consultant, so without needing any development anymore, without using the Word layouts, because Word layouts is also an option that is available from Microsoft, but there are some limitations to those Word layouts, so we are using RDLC reports that are configurable to set up the layout as the customer wants it. So I'm presenting now in a freshly installed sandbox. It's I would say a standard Kronos database with some examples in it. I created one sales order. If I go to the sales orders, and if I now go to the print confirmation, I will use the order confirmation as an example in this webinar. And if I look at the preview, in this case, it's using the standard Word layout offered by Microsoft. So you get a standard layout from Microsoft, but of course, as many of us know, many of our customers want to change things to that layout. You can do that in Word, or you can use RDLC reports where you then need a technical development to modify things. So for example, in this Word layout, you all already see that, yeah, my item number is too long in this case. So it's not fitting on one line. So it's already squeezed there in the first column. The address blocks are there, but maybe I want some other information, and so on and so on. So during this webinar, I will guide you through the setup. So one thing I did before is in the extension management. Oh, excuse me, in the extension management, I installed the Dynavision Layouts extension, which comes with a library app that is our Dynavision Core or connector, which we use also for this Layouts app. So everything has been installed. It's freshly set up. In this case, I go to the report layout setup. So that is the list page of the setup that we have for each report. And at this moment, it's still empty because, yeah, it's fresh installed. We could now start and create everything manually, but as we are always investing also a lot of effort to make the apps user-friendly and easy to install, we have also a get default action. If I select get default data, it will now create a standard set of all report layouts that we offer. So what we see now is a complete list of the layouts that we offer. They are divided in different categories. For example, the sales documents, the purchase documents, but we also cover service documents, transfer documents, and the warehouse documents, together with some exceptions as reminders, for example, which are also configurable. On this page, I can already see, and I will only work on the sales reports for the ease of this webinar. As we can see over here, on the right side, I have also a report selection status. It's in orange or in red in this case. And how come? If I look at the sales confirmation, it will direct me to the standard report selection for the sales. And here I see that the standard Word layout from Microsoft is still selected. So it's an indication to tell me as a consultant or as a customer that these reports are not already selected in the report selection. I can do that manually, one by one, or by clicking on these indications, but I can also do it with an action in the report. And now I see it's configured, so that means that those reports will be used. If I open the setup of my sales confirmation, I get a page, and on that page I will see a lot of parameters, a lot of settings that I can use to now optimize and tweak the report as it has been installed by default. I will run it once. We run it multiple times just to preview that we can see the changes. So we installed a new RDLC report, and this is with the basic, with our standard configuration result of it. So I see that I have a header where my addresses are printed with some logo. I see an intermediate header with some header data from the sales order. And then I see the line section where I have the information of the different items and also some comment lines on that report layout. On the left side at the bottom, I also see the ship to address of that customer. So that's what is happening by default, but I have multiple ways now to manipulate and to modify or to optimize the layout for myself. I will go first to the addresses. So we have the addresses that we have seen, top left, top right, or bottom left. And here I each time have a selection of available addresses. Also depending on the document type, here you can select from a set of available addresses. So I would stick to this layout, and what we have seen, if I run the preview once more, in the address blocks now, at this moment, we are using the standard layout of the addresses offered by Microsoft. So it's the same as on their RDLC reports. But sometimes you want to tweak it. For example, customers want additional information in the address block. So I just can go to a block configuration. I will just call it demo for this webinar. And then I can specify what I want to be displayed or to be printed in that block. First of all, of course, I take the address. This will take the standard layout of the addresses, but then I can add some additional info. For example, I will add the bank name, and then I will decide that I want an additional field behind the bank name, and I will use a dash with spaces. And after the bank name, I will print the IBAN number of my bank account. On top of that, I want to print also my email information and, for example, my website. So I just created a block card where I define what information I want to be contained in the address block. And I can select this now on the different addresses. I also have a standard one, which is just, I would say, the same as the standard addresses. If I now run the report once more, we know, if I zoom in a little bit, we'll see that on my addresses of my company information, I also have the name of my bank with the bank account number, with my email address, and with my website information. This could also be used with the information coming from customers or from vendors. So it's a flexible way to define which information should be added into the address blocks. Note that on the bottom left address, I also have a ship-to address that has been printed. And in fact, we are using there what we call the text constants. So we have a standard set that we install together with the get defaults. And text constants are in fact codes you can create. You can add a description if you want, but most of the time our code is already self-explaining. And then you can, for the languages that you want, can set the correct translations, the strings that you want to be printed. So ship-to address, I will add just demo in English. And if I go now back and if I run the report and I do the preview, we will see on the left bottom, I have my ship-to address, and I changed the text constant. I added demo to the last position, and this is reflecting immediately in my layout. The goal of this is that you can reuse the same text constants on different types of documents and different layouts. On the document itself, on the header, I can also add some additional info. For example, the logo, we have already standard on it. We defined also the left position for that. You have a kind of selection. Do you want it on the left, on the right, or in the center? But I can also add a title, and there also we are using text constants, which can be related to the table or which can be freely. And for example, I have somewhere a text constant sales order, which will now, if I run the report, also print a title, in this case, order confirmation on the top right. So it's depending on the position of the logo. It's the opposite way that the title of the document is printed. But you can put in whatever text constant that you want, and you can also change the translation according to the text that the customer wants to use on his layout. Other thing that we can add on the header is we can add a barcode field. And there we can just select from the header, for example, the document number, selecting the document number to be used as a barcode. And in this case, I also need to specify on the global settings of the layout which barcode type do I want to use. We have a set of barcode types available in Business Central. I just will take code 39, and I want also the text to be printed below the barcode. So if I run once more the preview, we will see that below my title of the document, I also have now the corresponding barcode, which represents the document number of that order confirmation. Maybe on another confirmation, it's not that often used, but for example, on the warehouse documents that we also cover, it can be quite useful if you are using also kind of a scanning solution in the warehouse. This is what we can in global change on the headers. On the footer, we also have some options, a little bit less. But for example, we can print a company information image on the footer, and that image can be set on the company information card where all the company info is available. We can also select a footer image. We can upload it to the database. I created a footer in this case. That's something that we do quite often at customers. We make a footer with, for example, the logo and their addresses and bank account information. So if I go back and I run the report once more in preview mode, what we will see now, oh, did I not select it? Cancel. In footer. Something's going wrong. Small. Yes, I have to zoom in. It's behind the bar. So we see now that on the footer we have that image positioned where we have, for example, all the address information, the bank account information, and my logo. So you can freely create a JPEG or PNG which will be used then on that footer information. So after header and footer, we also have some title information. So it's called what we call the header fields. We have 6 placeholders for that to put some information on the report. I will just show it on the layout itself, what is meant by that. So we see here the document number, the bill to customer number, order date, due date, your reference. This is what our default is offering. But if you want to, you can also change those fields. Or for example, in the 6th field, we can add another field, for example, the external document number can also be selected. And I set this to the field then. And if I now go, if I go to my preview again, we will see that besides your reference, we now also print the external document number with, again, a text constant, which will do the translations of that caption of that field. So we have 6 fields that can be used for that, freely configurable to use one of the header fields or to use a text constant to put some information on that. Then we come to the next part of your report. Most of the reports have done what we call the line section. That means the information on the lines. All the confirmation, this means for example, the comments and the item information. We have a set of predefined defaults of line, what we call line configurations. Just the default for sales, purchase, and service lines, but we also have one for warehouse documents and for transfer documents. But you can create your own one, or you can modify the existing ones. So you also have possibilities to copy and so on. So you can make different flavors of those line definitions. It might look quite extensive in this case, and it is also. To help the user to work, we can also create a kind of a preview on the same page. So below the definition of the lines, I now have the preview of my document. So when I now will start making changes on the line definition, I can immediately update that preview just to see immediately what is happening on my lines so that I can tweak it in the correct way. For example, what I first will show is we have different types. We have header information, we have document, this is really the line information, but we can also add information from comment lines or from assembly lines and so on. And on each line, we will see in which column this will be put and on which alignment we will use and on which position on the width of the layout this will be used. If I go back once more, I went back once too much, show details, sorry, I go to the preview. But I see, for example, in my first line, I have an item number which is too long to fit in the first column. So it's spread over 2 lines. It's not that nice. I want to fix that. How can I do it? Okay, I go to the lines. I just make it bigger so it's more clear. So on the header, I see, for example, my line description is starting on position 18. I just want to put it a little bit more to the right because that is causing the misfit in my case. So I will say it should start at position 25. And once I confirm this, it will immediately also suggest some actions on the, I would say, the linked lines, because now I have also my description, my real description field from the lines. It's still on the 18, but I changed the title. So it suggests me to take over the 25 position, which is now changed. And I can do that for all corresponding information from other types of lines. So if I now go back and I update the preview and I scroll down, I will see now that the title has moved to the right, and also the descriptions on the corresponding lines have moved to the right, and my longer item number is fitting on that first column. And with the preview, you really can see immediately the impact of your change on that layout. One thing more I can do on this, I see, for example, here I have the definition of comment lines. For example, I could now say I don't want this to be aligned to the left. I want to be a center alignment for this one. And I can also say I want the comment lines click on the right position. I want the comment lines to be printed not in a regular font, but I want to print it in a bold font. And we see that other options are also available, such as italic and underline. So if I close it and I go back and I once again update my preview, I scroll down and now I will see that the comment lines are centered in my layout, starting position 25, of course, and then I also have put the comment line in bold, and I see immediately the result of that. One other option that we can define on the comment lines, on the report lines, is I can insert a new line. I will add a document line, but I will use a second group for that. So that means it will be on the second line each time blocked, and I want to have it in the second column. And in that information, I want, for example, description 2 of the document lines. So that's quite often also asked to put the second description available on the layouts. So once more, update my preview. And if I go back now, I will see that I have on my lines, I have now a second description for the first item, second description of the second item. And note on the third item, I don't have a second description, and there the line is not empty. The next line is just closing nicely to that line. So it follows the way of how you would expect the document to be. It skips the blank description too, in fact. So this gives in a quick overview the possibility of the line reports. So we have the header of a document, we have the footer of a document, we can have the title section with the 6 fields, and then we can define the line definitions. There are much more options in there, so I'm really just showing a quite overview of all the possibilities. And then at the end, we have some additional options which can be selected, which can be activated, yes or no, depending on what the customer wants. One of the quite common things we see in Europe, for example, in Europe we have the Intrastat information. So quite some people want the Intrastat information to be printed on an invoice, for example. So on an invoice, then you could say, okay, I want the Intrastat info on the lines. And if I now run the report and I select the preview once more, then on the line sections, We also see now in italic in this case, because it's also a setting, the Interstat info is displayed. So the Interstat tariff code number, and then the description of that information, of that Interstat information. And the customer receiving then that posted invoice will be able to also input the correct Interstat information in his ERP system. So that's in a nutshell of the possibilities that we offer on the layouts. One more thing. So I made now the sales confirmation. I tweaked it a little bit. I optimized it. For example, I optimized the address blocks. And of course, I want to have a consistent layout on all my sales documents. So I could now go in there and do the same for the quote, the pro forma, the invoice, credit memo, and so on. But there we can also use the standard edit in Excel functionality from Business Central. So as we all know, we can use edit in Excel if the system is not failing right now, but there it is. So edit in Excel will now retrieve the data from the Business Central table into Excel. I see here all the information of my settings of my layout, and I see the code 39, for example, for the barcode. And now I can just paste the same info in all my sales documents. If I go a little bit to the right, I see my text block definition for the addresses, and I just can drag and copy it in all the documents, and I can say, okay, publish these changes to my system. And once it has been published successfully, once I go back and I select, for example, the credit memo, we will see that my barcode is now set, and my text block definition has also been set on that additional sales document. So in this way, we offer also the possibility to make one good layout, one good setting for one layout, and you can copy easily all the settings to the other related documents. That brings me to the end of the quick overview. I hope that we achieved a little bit the goal of demonstrating how easy everything can be set up. There are many more options in the report layouts, but I would suggest that you install the app in the sandbox, where you can do it without a license, and you can start using it, and you can download also the manual to get started with the app. Thank you for the attention, and I hand over again
Thank
to
you, Bert. I see some questions. I'm gonna quickly show the presentation also while we answer the questions. So Ben, maybe a first question or for you is, can we extend the data set with data from other tables or custom tables?
Yes, the report layouts are extendable. That's possible. We have offered a system that is configurable and so on, but if any additional information from additional tables or customized tables are needed, that can be added over a report extension.
Okay. Can we show the intrastats depending on the customer country?
Yes, we have. I didn't show that here, but we have also possibility to set on the customer card an option if the Intrastat should be printed. And there are three options: yes, no, and then the third option is depending on the countries of the shipment. So that means it will verify what country is on your location card and which country is on the shipment address. So, and then there is a logic behind, if you're crossing European borders, it will be printed, and else not.
All right. I see also a question, if you could receive the recording. Yes, we will send the recording to you afterwards. I'm going to maybe answer one last question, and then we go over to our last slide. So a question from Calvin: could the fields be aligned differently? Can we, for example, align the footer left or centrally or right?
At this moment, the footer image, if that's the case, it's one image that you make over the entire width, and you should make the position in the footer fields.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Bent. Now, as promised, we also have a small surprise for everyone who has joined our webinar today. Um, So, as we want to reward everyone who has made some time in their precious agendas today, we want to reward you with a special promotion only for people who were attending today. So, if you were to become a Dynavision reseller, or if you already are a reseller, um, when you sell and implement two Dynavision layout apps before the 31st of December, the third one will be on the house. And to reward you even more, you can invoke this promotion an unlimited number of times until the 31st of December 2024. Let's see. If you want to contact us, you can do so easily by just scanning this QR code and filling in the contact form, or just go to our website where you can click on contact sales and we will receive your message well. Thank you everyone for joining. We're happy to see such a great turnout today. So I hope this webinar was very useful for you. I see that there are still some people that have some questions. You can just send those other questions to us via the contact form, and then we'll gladly get back to you. If you want to try out the app, as Ben mentioned, just install it on a sandbox environment and go crazy. All right, that's it for us then. Thank you everyone for joining. I hope it was useful for you guys, and we hope to see you during one of our next webinars. Thank you.